Hey guys, it's Sam here, and I wanted to talk about the situation with Liverpool at the minute, and basically where we go from here. I did 2 videos towards the end of last year regarding Liverpool and particularly Arne Slot. And in the second one, I think where I think it's titled something like Arne Slot to Liverpool to stick with Arne Slot. I think it's titled. I went into the reasonings in why I believed he was still the right man for the job and why he would turn it around, and he's turned it around in terms of results. We are unbeaten in our last 8 or 9 games now. I don't know what it is, but we're unbeaten in our last 8 or 9. But the terms of performances, he hasn't turned it around. So he turned it around in results, but in performances, we are no better. It is probably one of the worst unbeaten runs you will ever see, because we are not playing good football. We are not even at times looking like the team that's above these other teams in the league. And it's starting to get very frustrating regarding Arne Slot. Now, I'm in a situation, or should I say, I'm in a position where I don't really... It's hard for me to get to a place where I want a manager sacked. I think I was there with Brendan Rodgers because it just seemed inevitable that if he would go, Jurgen Klopp would come in. He was always like the key favourite when it was all going wrong. I was on board with sacking Brendan to get Jurgen Klopp in. We all wanted Klopp. It was the perfect appointment. It made a lot of sense. And I was on board with that, I think. It's a few years since that happened now. I don't have the best memory. But I think I was on board with it at the time anyway. It's difficult in these types of situations where it's easy when you're on the outside. You banter clubs that obviously you're struggling. You're like, this manager should be sacked. He's useless, he's rubbish, all of that stuff. But when it's your own club, it is very, very difficult to get to that place because you never want to see your team struggle, and you never want to see a manager, especially just after winning a league title, struggle as well. And it is getting closer and closer to that position now where I'm starting to think, is it best to part ways? I wouldn't say I'm Arne Slot out, but I don't think I'm fully Arne Slot in either. I think I'm one of those that are on the fence, and I understand that some people don't like that. They don't like people that fence it. They want you to have a decision, but as a fan, I'm allowed my opinion, and my opinion is that honestly I don't know, but I am starting to lean towards potentially thinking, is it best to just go our separate ways at the end of the season? The reasoning for this is obviously the performances. They aren't good enough. We're not getting any better. And when you see what Virgil van Dijk said and the comments that were made about the set piece coach, that we were working on defending set pieces and conceding and continuing to concede them, well, ultimately, you then, if you're working on it and you're still not getting any better, you relieve them of their duties. Ultimately, Briggs was sacked. So then you see the comments being made, I think by Arne Slot himself, saying that we're working on performing better, we're working on trying to take our chances more and creating chances, and we're still not doing that, we're still having issues with that. Ultimately, when you work on something and it's still not working, the ultimate thing is you're relieved of your duties. And it's getting closer and closer to that point where I think even some of the going fans may be turning on him as well. Obviously, social media has almost completely turned on him. But I think the going fans, some of them are starting to turn as well. Because it is dull. The football is dull. I haven't seen us play football like this in a long, long time. It is dull, it is boring, it is just not exciting. Because I watched the game against Fulham. I don't usually watch Liverpool games. I'm a very nervous watcher. I get too stressed. It hurts my chest. I'm 25. I can't be having heart attacks just yet. But you'd get that by watching Liverpool. So I tend not to watch them. But because for the last few months now, I have seen on social media a lot of fans criticise our performances. And I've always kind of thought, is this just an overreaction to a bad result? You know, when we're drawing to a team like Leeds, where you should be beating them, and you draw with them, is it just an overreaction because you're annoyed at the result? Or is it genuine? So I thought, do you know what, I'm going to watch the Fulham game and we'll see if it is genuine. And it is very, very fucking genuine. It's poor. That first half, Liverpool were playing like they were 4-0 up and it's the 90th minute. Just slow passing, slow build-up, no urgency, no aggression, no pressing, nothing, and we're 1-0 down. Bearing in mind, we were unfortunate to be 1-0 down because they scored with their first chance. But that's Liverpool through and through. That's been Liverpool for my whole life, supporting Liverpool. There's always been the time, no matter who's been in charge, Rafa Benitez, Roy Hodgson, Kenny Dalglish, Brendan Rodgers, Jurgen Klopp, Arne Slot, even before that, probably in the 90s, the 80s and probably even the 70s. It's just engraved in our DNA that we do struggle against smaller teams, and also a lot of teams, all they need is one chance and they score it. And that's what Fulham did. And to be fair, it was a very good goal from Harry Wilson. But the fact is, it was their first attempt, but it's not like we were testing them at all. We started well in just build up and keeping possession and everything, but we didn't really have any chances. It was really poor. And in the end, we concede. You expect a reaction, and there wasn't one. Start of the second half, obviously in the second half we did see a reaction, but that was always going to happen because it couldn't have got any worse. The second half we were pressing, there was more aggression. It looked like Liverpool of last season, where it was quick. It was the Liverpool we know. We scored the equaliser. That should galvanise you. That should then make you want to keep going and go on. Instead, we sit back and play like we were doing in the first half. Slow, no aggression, no zero tempo. There was fuck all happening. It was all Fulham. We somehow snatch a goal from nowhere, and in 40, 50 seconds later, it's 2-2 from a worldie from Harrison Reed. You can't take anything from the strike. It's a brilliant strike and a brilliant goal. But why does he have the length of the pitch to himself? Bearing in mind, there is also a man free right on the edge of the area. No one marking him. I mean, and it was a waste of a change as well, because Gakpo scored. He takes him off to bring on Gomez to see it through. Literally straight away, back 2-2. I mean, that was a waste of a substitution, wasn't it? Because no one was there. No one ran at him. He has the length for the pitch. Of course he's going to hit it. Again, you can't take anything from the strike. It is a worldie of a goal, and it will no doubt be one of the goals of the season for sure. It'll definitely be a contender, and it's definitely going to be up there. But why is he so free? Why is no one going to him? They're all just stood in the box like fucking lemons. And it pissed me off so much last night seeing that. Because it is mind-blowing. And again, it's a draw against a team we should be beating, because Fulham are shit. They are. They weren't even good in the game. And they scored twice, and they could have won it. They should have won it. Harry Wilson hit the crossbar from a really good effort that somehow ended up landing to him. I don't know how that's happened. But yeah, we were all over the place. And God forbid what happens on Thursday at the Emirates against Arsenal. I am expecting a battering. 4-5, 6-0. If it doesn't end 5 or 6-0, I'll be fucking ecstatic. And that is coming from a Liverpool fan. That's what you'd expect from a Wolves fan, from a Leeds fan, from a West Ham fan. And that's coming from a Liverpool fan. How the fuck have we gone from winning the Premier League 7-8 months ago to being ecstatic if we weren't smashed by Arsenal? That is where my head has been turned. In the sense that maybe it is best to part ways. Again, do you do it now and maybe get someone like Gerrard in just as an interim to the end of the season, and then, as some fans have put it, vibe your way to the end of the season with Gerrard, with someone else, and then you get, you know, a permanent replacement in the summer? Or do you wait until the summer, you let him finish this out, and then come May say, you know, thank you for the 2 years, but we're going our separate ways? Who knows? But because of that, it is a tricky thing of, well, who do you get to replace him? If you were to relieve him of his duties now, who is out there? Who has gone? Well, today, Ruben Amorim's been sacked. A couple of days ago, Enzo Maresca was sacked. Absolutely not. You know, you're looking at, I don't know. I think the only realistic person I can see coming in is Xabi Alonso. If he was sacked at Real Madrid. Now, again, maybe Real Madrid at the end of the season go, look, it hasn't worked out. You know, we're going to go a different direction. And then Liverpool get him in the summer. But I don't know. I mean, you would say from at least last season, and it's definitely the start of this season, probably Areola from Bournemouth, but of late Bournemouth haven't been great, and it looks like his stock's plummeted as well with Glasner's. So, you know, do you take that risk on him? You know, there's no definitive answer here. That's the problem. When we sacked Rodgers, there was a definitive answer. Jurgen Klopp. It was only going to be Jurgen Klopp. I think if Jurgen Klopp had said no, Brendan Rodgers would not have been sacked. They would have kept him for a little bit longer and re-evaluated. But, yeah. I just don't know anymore. So, when you've got the definitive answer of Jurgen Klopp, you go with it. Now, this season, or at least this time round, I don't really think there is a definitive answer, so again, you can give the answer of, well, you could give Gerrard the interim management until the end of the season, but again, you know, there's a chance it could get even worse. You know, although it is very bleak in performances, we are still fourth. You know, Champions League is still a possibility. Of course, we're most likely going to be out of the Champions League places by Thursday, because Man United have Burnley. Even if they hadn't sacked Amorim, they were going to beat Burnley. And Chelsea have Fulham. Even if they didn't sack Maresca, they were probably going to beat Fulham. So both teams are probably going to win. Even if one doesn't, one of them will win. So we'll definitely be out of the top four by Thursday. But it's still well within our hands to get top four. Again, disappointing when we've just been champions and you've spent 500 million in the summer. Settling for top four should not be a thing, but that's where we are. So, again, what do you do in that situation? I think I don't know. I really don't. It's a shame. It is a real shame, because from where we were in May, you know, we were so certain that it was going to be a wonderful few years, and that Arne Slot was going to be the man to lead us for many years. And maybe it still is, but I think that's just holding out hope for an impossible, I think, because I don't see it. I think if we were going to see it, we would have seen it by now. Something would have changed. But our performances are not changing. And if he's saying he's working on it in training and you're still not seeing change, you've got an issue. And I would love to know, because then you've also got the comment of his footballing philosophy hasn't changed, but you deal with the players you have available. Well, I'm confused at that, because I don't exactly know what he's getting at. This is also what is turning my head to thinking maybe, possibly, we should go our separate ways. Because he is losing me in the press conferences. Last season, his press conferences and his interviews, they all made sense. This season, not one of them's made sense. He's the only manager that is obsessed with XG. I don't know anyone else who's obsessed with XG. XG's just a bullshit stat that has come into football within the last few years that means nothing. No one cared about XG in the 2000s. You know, no one cared about it. It wasn't even a thing. And he's the only one that goes on about it every single week. XG, XG, XG. Who cares about XG? If you're not putting the ball in the net, that's the issue. It doesn't matter if you've had 20 attempts, if your XG's 3.17. And how can you get a 0.17 of a goal anyway? That doesn't make any sense. The stat itself doesn't make sense at times. Like I said, the 0.17. You can't get a 0.17 of a goal. You either get a goal or you don't. There's no half goal. There's no 0.17 of a goal. It's just a stupid, stupid stat that no one cares about except for him. I don't get it. And then he goes on about how we need to play the same players. We overused Ekitike, which is why he missed Fulham yesterday, because he felt his hamstring because he was overused. Florian Wirtz, you could tell in that Fulham game, Florian Wirtz ain't fully fit. We've seen it. He's nursing a hamstring injury, and you can tell. You can tell. Especially from pre-season and the first few games where he was electric. His passing was insane. The way the ball just stuck to him, it was literally like watching Coutinho all over again. You can tell it's not there. His passing was awful, really. I'm so glad he got his goal. But apart from that, the amount of balls he gave away, he wasn't really sprinting. You can just tell he's not fully fit. And you're saying that we have to use these players because you've got no one else. Well, you do. You've got Rio. You've got Federico Chiesa. You don't use them. You didn't have to overload Ekitike. You can play Chiesa down the middle. But for whatever reason, you don't rate him. And if it's the bullshit reason that we're hearing about the Plymouth game, then he's just shit. Because nobody in a Liverpool shirt played well in the Plymouth game. So to pick him out of that is honestly disgusting. And I don't buy it for a second. Because it can't be that. Because nobody played well. And since then, he has shown that he can be reliable. Every time he comes off the bench, he gives 100%. Even when it's for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, which is the maximum he gets. This is the issue also with Slot. His substitutions are way too late. He starts making changes in the 70th minute. The game's fucking nearly gone. It takes about 10-15 minutes to get into a game off the bench. If you're bringing them on as 70th minute, you've got 20 minutes of a game left. That's not nearly enough. And by the time Chiesa's come on, there's 5 minutes of a game left. And still somehow he manages to do more than most players that get 90 minutes. And even in that time, he scores goals with just 5 minutes on the pitch. Yet he doesn't get the game time. And then you're hearing the manager come out and say, we've got no one else, we have to use these players. You're blatantly lying, Garner. Because you've got the players on the bench, you're just not using them. He's losing me. He's losing me in the interviews and the press conferences with the football that he's playing. How are you saying your philosophy hasn't changed? Well, why are we playing like shit then? You don't even have to compare it to Jurgen Klopp. Just compare it to last season. Last season was so much faster, was so much more pressing, aggression, everything like that. Everything that we'd seen previously under Jurgen Klopp, apart from it being heavy metal, it was almost identical. Now, it's not. So what are you on about that your philosophy hasn't changed? Either you're setting us up to play like that, or the players are not listening to you and are playing like shit. Either way, there is a problem. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know what's happened. I'm lost. I don't know what the plan is. It seemed last season Arne Slot had about 20 different plans in a game. Now he's got one. He's got one plan and it doesn't fucking work. And the minute it doesn't work, he hasn't got a clue. Well, I'm lost. I'm absolutely baffled and lost. But anyway, that's it. I just wanted to talk about the situation and where we go from here, because I really don't know. And yeah, all I know is it can't continue like it is. Because if it is, we are getting battered by Arsenal. We are going to get battered when we play City again. We are going to get battered by every good team that we play, and in the Champions League as well. So, something has to change, and it needs to happen now. He needs to fix it now. Not next week, not in a month, not next season, now. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.